This is Eastern State Penitentiary. Most of Philadelphia is famous for cheesesteaks, Rocky, and where the Liberty Bell lives. But this place sits right in the middle of the city, and almost everyone here has some memory of it, even if they've never been inside. It's just one of those places that makes your skin crawl and your hair stand on end. You get that feeling because this building holds memories, and these memories scream, claw at your brain, whisper in your ear, laughing all the while. Eastern State Penitentiary opened in 1829. It was built like a castle in the middle of Philadelphia. Inside, criminals would be locked away forever, forgotten by society, abandoned and crushed by the weight of their own thoughts. They say this place was a dream, a better way to punish people without the harshness of other prisons, which often beat prisoners and put them in solitary. Here, they made the punishment worse. They made it lonelier. In the United States, the early 1800s were a violent time. Cities were dirty, crowded, and loud. Crime rates soared. So this prison was designed to be different. Instead of punishing men together, the architects thought putting them in solitary confinement would help them repent. Prisoners would live in silence, locked in their cells. No mattress, just a hard stone floor and a Bible. No windows or sunlight, only a single barred door. No visitors, not even lawyers or family. That'd drive anyone crazy. Eastern State had 1,600 cells. The guards called them the Hollow. Each one was exactly alike. Prisoners couldn't work, read, or even eat in silence. This prison was supposed to save souls, but it broke them. Found out about this place last year when I moved to Philly. I'm a filmmaker, make videos about haunted places. As soon as I heard about Eastern State, I wanted to see it for myself. I learned about the twisted experiments the warden conducted, how prisoners clawed their walls until their fingernails tore off. They whispered to people who weren't there. Some laughed for hours at shadows. And sometimes those shadows, those damn shadows, laughed back. It's built in 1829. Eastern State ran for more than 140 years, housing murderers, thieves, traitors, bank robbers, even Al Capone. After the mob boss bombed a Chicago theater, killing 7. Capone was sentenced to federal prison. First stop, Eastern State. Before he went in, reporters cornered him, asking why he did it. All Capone said was, "It wasn't me." It was a big mistake. The guy I had do it for me lost his nerve, but inside the prison, something changed. In the dead of night, he confessed everything. He admitted his crimes, but he wasn't alone in his cell. There was another prisoner, one he hadn't seen since before the theater bombing, James Clark, the man he killed. He sat on the edge of Al's bed every night, telling him how much pain he'd suffer in hell. Al Capone later told reporters he didn't sleep a wink in that place, and he never told anyone else about the ghost until he was nearly 70. By 1951, overcrowding, corruption, and riots forced the government to close Eastern State. It was too expensive to run. It was crumbling. The nearby airport was too loud. And over the decades, people had come to believe prison reform wasn't the best way to deal with crime. For 140 years, the prison walls soaked up the worst humanity had to offer. All the blood, sweat, and tears, fear, anguish, laughter, and despair. Then, it just stopped. And as the doors were locked for the last time, all that leftover energy seemed to have nowhere to go. So now, it's a museum. You can wander around the entire area. What's creepy is that today's visitors feel something strange, too. Most come during the day when the sun blazes in and light floods the cell blocks. Even still, many leave early, shaken, whispering about things they can't explain. Dark figures in the shadows, cold spots, sudden noises. I visited last fall. By day, it's hot and bustling. Its guides walk around, giving you little tidbits about life inside the prison. They talk about its history, the experiments, the escape tunnels. But at night, the whole place changes. This is when the energy builds, when the ghosts of prisoners roam. So, last November, my video crew and I got permission to spend the night inside. It's illegal to stay after dark. I think they let us do it because they don't believe in ghosts. So we headed in armed with cameras, recorders, batteries, and lights. When we arrived, it was getting dark. The sky was filled with gray clouds. As we walked through the archway, past the guardhouse, into the prison yard, the wind picked up, whipping fallen leaves around our feet. We could feel the temperature drop. It was only 6:30 p.m., but the woods were already growing dark. My camera's night vision turned on, its green glow highlighting crumbling bricks and weeds growing through cracks in the pavement. After checking out a few of the buildings, we headed to the center of the complex, cell block 12. We figured it'd be the best spot to spend the night. It's the one people say is the most active, so it's probably the saddest. The main cell block was built in 1836. It was the last addition to the prison. Walking inside, you feel like you're stepping back in time. The floor tilts to one side. The air smells like dirt and decay. Crumbling bricks line the walls, and at the end of the hall stood two steel doors, each covered with grime and age. They creaked open, revealing 4 rows of cells, 12 in each row. Each one looked identical. A window high up on the wall, a narrow barred door, and a toilet and sink made of cold stone. No beds, no desks, just emptiness. We checked out a couple of the cells, then set up our cameras and audio recorders in the middle of the hallway, aimed at the cell doors. We turned off our lights, grabbed flashlights, and explored. Everywhere we went, we could hear the crickets chirping outside, the wind whipping around the decaying walls. But in between the tall ceilings and the crumbling brick, the sounds bounced and echoed, making it hard to tell where anything was coming from. Then we heard it again, a footstep, slow and heavy, walking toward us. We froze, listening. Nothing. We shone our flashlights down the hallway. Suddenly, a second noise, a scraping sound, like metal dragging across the floor. Again, nothing. As we walked farther into the cell block, we kept hearing footsteps, but we never saw anyone. The scratching followed us around, and we turned to find a rat skittering away. It paused, stared at us, then disappeared into the darkness. We found a pair of sunglasses lying on the floor and picked them up. One lens was shattered, but as we turned them over, they fell apart. The rest of the night passed without incident. Heard rats scurrying around, shuffling papers, and whispering voices. We recorded it all, but it wasn't until the next morning that we realized what we'd captured. Back in the car, listening to the audio, we could hear the voices, low and constant, coming from every cell at once. As we played the recordings back, we heard words, "Leave me alone, help me, mine." One of our team swore they felt a hand grab their shoulder, though no one was near. But what I saw, I can't explain. At the end of the hall, I saw a man. He stood in front of the first row of cells, thin and pale, wearing torn prison rags. His face was hidden in shadow, but his eyes glowed with an evil light. I thought he was a reenactor, some trick to scare us, but when I called out, he walked straight into the wall and vanished. We ran, and I didn't look back.